Hi, my name's Kyle Duplessis. I just want to let you guys know that the reason I'm even making this video and not waiting for a long time is because of a couple loved ones. I'm wondering if there's such thing as saving anybody from the pitfalls, or do you have to go through it yourself? Do you have to try it? Do you have to find out that it just doesn't fucking work? But if it does save some of the pitfalls, then awesome. I would love to save you some pitfalls. But if it doesn't, well, I'd probably hurt you. But, here we are. And if you're already there, you can get out. I got out. Or you can shut off. And you can stop being some weird, glitchy old lights. Oh shit, we need that light back. By no means have I got some video technique stuff going on, but I figured the more I try to perfect it, the longer this gets, and the more I keep talking, and the less I'm going to make sense. So we're just going to read what we got. I'm Kyle, and I'm an addict. You don't know me, but I know you. So beautiful. You can go get professional help, and they're never going to understand you the way we will understand each other. So I wrote down some stuff on my own, and we've got over 10 minutes of what I've got so far written down from online resources and stuff. But early on in recovery, I went to NA because NA made sense to me. Narcotics Anonymous. What seemed like the worst decisions at one time in our recovery opened up the door for some of our greatest opportunities later on. We may simply outgrow some of the problems, but it isn't until living clean that the journey continues. And I really needed that when I was in recovery, because I felt a lot of the problems I had gone through were really bad. Why? How can I ever turn this around? Literally, if I know any drug addict, I can help them. People who went to school to work with addicts will somehow never be able to truly understand or help who they get paid to help. But me, I've spent I spent a lot of dollars at the college I went to. But no, I've got the experience that they just never could have, and the understanding that they're working their entire life to try to put a view on. So yeah, if you know me, if you don't know me, you can check me out on Facebook. You can contact me in real life. My name is Kyle Duplessis, KYLEDUPLESSIS. And that's my favorite quote from NA. Let's see if... And one of my favorite things were like the NA just for today. It's a lot simpler than the Bible. They call it a higher power. They don't. And in pretty much every day is a day when you get to read something. They have it for literally each day. So that's one thing I really liked about NA, is getting to do that. Once or twice a week, we would go to a group, and we would all sit there and talk about our shit, and they would know what I'm talking about. So let's see what we got written down for you. No particular rhyme or rhythm. There's no particular method that's going to work good, because every addict is different, but we're all the same. Now, my intro backstory, I'm going to have to kind of bleep out, because I don't think my son's old enough yet. But he is old enough that, like I said, I want to see if this can prevent the pitfalls, and he's basically the only reason I'm jumping the gun, because he's that important. I don't want him to ever see where I was, to have to see it through my eyes. Whew, I'm gonna cry there. Don't be don't be crying, Kyle. All right. And we're gonna try to leave out religion as much as I can, just for today. But we'll be talking about it later on. Don't you worry, because I really believe that was the big key. So in my story, I began using weed when I was... Alright, so back to my backstory before the battery or storage rudely got full on me. I began using weed at a very young age. It was kind of, not that I thought it was cool, but the people I was inspired by, they definitely thought it was cool. And then I wanted to be cool too. I wanted to be around those people. I wanted to just do what they were doing and be cool too. So I started using as well. And I didn't have a job, so I had to quickly start coughing up some money if I wanted to be cool too. So the only option was to steal. So that kind of led me down a little bit of a path in life. And, well, let's just say it took a good decade or more even kind of get a handle on things. It progressed. And the funny thing is I guess you'll see it in the other part of the story, but it's just a replacement. The whole replacement was going the wrong way. I was replacing little bit bad things with even more worse things, and then those little bit worse things weren't working as well. And eventually the drug became coke. It switched from real things to not real. Real. It switched from legal-ish things to not legal things, and eventually worked its way up to drinking and cocaine. And that eventually didn't work as well. So my only options were to either smoke it or inject it. And luckily, we never got to injecting it. We soon learned and got to detox. Actually had to go to detox a couple times to get it right, but we did it until we got it. So we're gonna skip everything else until my child's older. Sorry, bummer alert, but there's a few things going on that he's just not old enough yet for, so that we gotta leave that out. Realizing it and admitting life is unmanageable. For me, that was really a big key. It's the first step to fixing the problem. You need to know you have a problem, or how are you going to fix your problem. Some of your signs that life has become unmanageable could include stealing from your family, stealing from your friends, stealing from people, stealing from businesses, stealing from just stealing in general, missing your work, lying to your family, losing relationships, because nobody's going to be putting up with that shit too long. Even families are going to stop putting up with it. If you're lying, if you're hiding when you use, hiding from others, or using, or isolating, and isolating's big. Depending what the drugs are, or what alcohol, you're a social butterfly. You're trying to get some, you know what I'm saying? For the most part. Some people actually drink, and they drink by themselves. But for me, if I'm drinking, I'm looking where the party is. But those other drugs, they just make me want to go off on my own. So those are the really big key, realizing and admitting that you have a problem. You can't fix it if you don't do that. In my opinion, life is becoming unmanageable. The best plan of action is to call a local detox, from my opinion. Center, admit yourself, tell your family, although they sometimes and mostly always just can't understand. They're heartbroken. They may or may never be able to get over these deep-seated wounds, but generally once you get better, they understand then. But they can't until you're better. They just may be too heartbroken. Now this is for people who can't afford to take time off from work to go to detox. Also, if you do go to detox and you are worried about telling your boss, they're not supposed to be able to do anything if you're a drug addict, but for some reason it's socially acceptable to be an alcoholic but not a drug addict. So maybe your best bet, if you're unsure of what's going to happen, is tell your boss nothing. Your doctor will give you a doctor's note and make up a special wording for you, I'm sure. But you could also tell your employer that you're an alcoholic. That may sound weird, but if you're not an alcoholic and you used cocaine or any other drug, then it's somehow socially acceptable to be an alcoholic. So there's an avenue. But for a lot of people, including myself, if I was to ever relapse again, I don't know if I could really take 2 weeks off and just go to detox. So what is there left to do? You can join a group. It's the greatest place to start. Even if you're still unable to get off of it for any amount of time, get to a meeting, start hearing someone else who's getting it a little bit or a lot bit, and then you can work from there, because another addict is who's going to best understand you, and you're going to best understand another addict. There is AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, Cocaine Anonymous, and I'm sure there's plenty more. I don't know about them. And in my city, in Moncton, New Brunswick, Canada, it has something called Celebrate Recovery. And Chicago is another new one. Let's see what we got going on here. So it's best to outreach to an addiction services or Google addiction services to find out what you do got going on in your area. Let's see what happens if I type it. If I type it into YouTube, it just soon you're gonna find my video once you do that. But addiction services. There's Valley Hope org. That looks like it's an American thing, but I guess you might want to put your country. But I'm sure if you called an American place, they would still talk to you. In Canada, there's Canadian Recovery Centers .com, EdgewoodHealthNetwork.com, New Horizon, that's New Brunswick. Addiction Rehab, or it's in Nova Scotia, my bad. New Horizon's also the name of what we have call our Horizon, I guess. And there's one called Horizon, and they're in Fredericton for counseling and mental health. St. John has one, and Mental Health Center is in Moncton, New Brunswick. So even if you're not in these direct locations, just Google, you're going to find hundreds of places that you can seek help from. No addict is the same. No addict is 100% the same, but we're all the same. I really like that quote. I probably said it wrong from how some other person said it, but it stuck with me for all these years. Either purchase or use free online resources like I've just shown you. Let's show you a few more. There's NA Living Clean. There's NA Just for Today, which has a reading that you can do for every single day of the year. NA Online Books. Now there's the Narcotics Anonymous basic text, and it also has the 12 steps. It's a 12-step program, which is what a lot of people are going to need. And who is an addict? Click confirm if I'm not a robot. Okay, I'm not a robot. It's not letting me get in. It thinks I'm a robot.
Important security message. Your computer has been locked up. Your IP address was used without your knowledge or consent to visit websites that contains identity theft virus. To unlock the computer, please call support immediately. Please do not attempt to shut down or restart your computer. Doing that may lead to data.
Well, that was interesting. So there's the NA Living Clean. And there's Just for Today. There's AA Daily Meditations. And those were my favorite ones. So from the NA Living Clean, I've got a special quote. What seemed like the worst decisions at one time in our recovery opened the doors for some of the greatest opportunities later on. I wouldn't be able to babble here and hopefully save someone from using and reaching to the despair and pitfalls that I have if I didn't do it. I wouldn't be able to understand you better than a paid doctor if I didn't go there. And then there's the Daily Recovery Daily from the Just for Today Narcotics Anonymous reading that I actually want to read because I liked it. Choosing recovery means choosing life. We decide each day that we want to live and be free. Each time we avoid destructive behaviors, we choose recovery. So that's pretty powerful. And there's got two more things I want to talk about: accountability and honesty. Now for me, I really need this because if I don't have the accountability, then who's going to stop me from going to have a cigarette? Who's going to stop me from replacing that cigarette with weed? And who's going to stop me from replacing that weed with something else if I'm not being accountable to people? And that's going to require honesty, because if you slip, they're going to need to know, because your support staff are them. And they may need to change how they talk to you. They may need to stop sugarcoating things. They may need to tell you, you need to change. No, that's not right. Because a good support staff is like a mirror. They don't block the truth from you. They don't block the light. They show you exactly what you look like. And they hopefully are nice about it. So I mean, maybe sugarcoating to that degree, but a support staff is a very transparent mirror. And if they aren't able to do that, you need to understand that. in my case, I have like 7 of them, and I don't know if they don't want to be there or they can't handle it because they're not addicts or what's going on, or they're scared to step on God's toes and not answer. But the best people who can understand you are an addict. So if you're talking to someone, they're not able, maybe you need to talk to an addict. My best friend is somehow can understand me better than anybody else. We've grown up with lots of other people who've slipped and used and never been able to quit using. Some of them died from using. So he knows what I'm going through. We've lived it. And he's always the best person. He's my go-to if my other support staffs can't help. And he always has something that is exactly what I needed. Ironically enough, he best understands another addict because he went through some of the stuff through. So I won't get into spirituality too much in religion because that's a whole topic in itself, but I trust and I know that it had something to do with why I succeeded. So you keep that in mind. Also, NA and AA have online groups. Facebook is an easy way to find yourself a mentor, a friend, or a sponsor. And this sponsor can help you go through these 12 steps and give you someone to work on them with. So if you're too scared to do it with someone in person, or you're unable to find a sponsor in real life, then you'll definitely find one online. And my personal favorite method that I use to get clean, and now use it to stay clean, would be the 3 Ps. People, places, and things. Playthings. The people was the biggest thing for me because if I knew who was using, I knew where they were, I knew who could talk to who to get it. I didn't have much of an option. I had to stop talking to everybody completely. I had to delete my Messenger and Facebook and stuff. I had to change my phone number. I had to delete contacts from my phone. This was because it would just result in using. There's just my take on people. Now, I've also, since getting better, I've thought about people differently. People aren't always the people that are using. Sometimes they're already within your family, and then they just have a certain pet peeve that makes you mad and or gets you on edge or has a certain way to really ruin your joy somehow. What you may have been able to tolerate while you were using could really set you off the deep end if you're early on in your recovery. So you want to be careful of that. You want to avoid places that give you triggers to use, places where you can use, and places where the people are who will enable. And playthings, for me, I don't really have much of a plaything. Maybe I'm an introvert too much. But for some, like, playthings could be, I don't know, like certain games or certain things that you did that could trigger you. You really want to be careful with people, places, and things. That's about it. I think I've really butchered this trying to read it 4 times. And I've left out some of the back storyline, but don't worry, we'll be adding it in once my child's a bit older. Thank you everyone for watching. I'm going to be posting some information. If you'd like to contact me for any suggestions, tips, if you need help, I can see what I can do to help you. My name on Facebook is KYLEDUPLESSIS. Now, if you send me a message, also send a friend request so I don't just miss your message forever somehow in the message request metaverse. And if you're on YouTube, well, that's probably how you're watching this, but yeah, you could send me a comment down here. If you want to put your comment something down below as a tip to help someone else. Also, if you want to comment your clean date, go for that. I'm going to comment mine. But you don't have to say anything specifically. You just have to say I'm clean. You don't even have to say that. But if you want to, if you're brave enough, go right ahead. Also, online NA and AA, they have groups where you can even join. You can pick yourself up a sponsor if you feel like you're going to be using, or if you're unable to get to a detox, or go to a local group due to embarrassment or just any reason whatsoever. Hello, my name's Kyle Duplessis, and never really thought about this, but just as a disclaimer for anyone who's watching, while I can provide general information, it is crucial to seek professional help for a personalized plan. I'm not really sure why, because we understand each other a lot fucking better than they do. So they probably got some more better strategies, I don't know, but take that into consideration. I'm just here for sharing tips and ideas. But I'm definitely not here to screw around. This is something serious that I've made up. This is going to be the coolest thing to my channel. I'm trying to figure out where to look, because there's the thing. But I want to look at the picture, but if I look at there, I feel like I'll be looking at you. But I want to look at me, so I don't know. I'm just going to probably look at my notes so I don't get cross-eyed. Yeah. So before we begin this, I'm just going to go through those housekeeping ideas. I'm only here to offer some guidance and support. If you want some physical support, like talk to me on Facebook Messenger, you can. My name is Kyle Duplessis, KYLEDUPLESSIS. Yeah, if you message me, make sure you send a friend request, because quite often it goes right to the message requests. And I would gladly love to help anybody out who's in my journey. So, I found a few things online that I'm going to read through before I go through my own stuff. Recognizing that there's a problem and committing to a change. Acknowledge the negative impact and understand how drugs are affecting your life, relationships, and overall well-being. Set a goal when you want to quit and commit to change. Create a support network and reach out to loved ones. Share your decision with people you trust. Their support can be invaluable. Join a support group. Connect with others who are going through similar experiences. Consider professional help. A therapist or counselor can provide guidance and coping strategy. Develop a plan. Set realistic goals. Break down the quitting process into smaller, manageable steps. Identify triggers. Recognize the situations or emotions that might lead to drug use. If you're going to write at least one thing down, write that shit down. Or press the rewind button and go back. Create healthy coping mechanisms. Find alternatives, activities to replace drug use, such as exercise, hobbies, or spending time with loved ones. Those are all great, but I would like to see one of y'all do that in the moment. For me, I like to replace therapy because, let's see, we kind of replaced just like working my way into addiction. We started with weed. We replaced that with weed and alcohol. And then, we replaced the weed and alcohol with even more harder drugs. Some of those drugs could include psychedelics at the beginning, and then later on those got replaced, and it kept going. And if I was to continue, my only next options would have been to bang, inject. And I watched a few people do that while I was pretty much at the end of getting high off everything else, and they didn't do too well. No. But then I went to Alberta. Actually, we'll save that. That's a bad spot, so we'll keep going back to this. Practice self-care. Get enough sleep, eat healthy foods, and engage in stress-reducing activities. Avoid relapse. Identify high-risk situations. Recognize places, people, or events that might trigger cravings. Develop relapse prevention strategies. Have a plan in place to cope in cravings and avoid returning to drug use. Celebrate your success. Acknowledge your progress and reward yourself for staying clean. Remember, quitting drugs is a challenging process, but it is possible with the right support and commitment. And if you're struggling, don't hesitate to reach out to a professional for help. And mainly the only problem with quitting is you're going to run into, I guess it depends on how long you've used for, but for the most part, the only problem is going to be your withdrawals. If you've been using for a long time, you're going to have physical withdrawals. Some of those could include vomiting, nausea, diarrhea, sweating, chills, tremors, muscle aches, insomnia, headaches, and fatigue. Psychological symptoms would be the anxiety, the depression, irritability, mood swings, and cravings. And I found these tips online. Professional guidance. Consult with a healthcare provider or addiction specialist. They can assess your specific needs, recommended appropriate treatments and medications to manage the withdrawal symptoms. Although there can be definitely, what do they call those people? Addiction specialists and professional guidance. Sometimes they actually are ex-addicts or are addicts, but generally they're not, and they generally have no possible way to understand it. So that's the irony I find. Like, I'm an addict and I'm the best you got, and if you're an addict, you're the best I got, because no doctor's gonna understand what the fuck I'm going through. They're not gonna understand what I'm dealing with. They just can't. They're not built that way. Structured environments. So structured environments such as rehabilitation facility, detox, can provide support and supervision during the withdrawal process. Everybody should be able to at least take a week off of work and go to detox. You can tell your tell your boss you're an alcoholic, even if you're a different type of alcoholic. And by law, they can't do jack shit. So you just pretend you're an alcoholic and you give her. Structured environments. Healthy lifestyles. Prioritize a healthy lifestyle with regular sleep, balance, and nutrition, and exercise. Relaxation. Practice relaxation tips like breathing, meditation, yoga to reduce stress and anxiety. I don't think any addicts are going to be doing any damn yoga. Support network. Build a strong support network of friends, family, and support groups. Medication assisted treatment. Consider this if you've been using for a while. I know that sounds a little bit backwards, but if you've been using alcohol for so long, you could have run into some serious problems if you quit cold turkey, just like any other drug. So in some cases, if you've tried cold turkey, if you tried replacing it with something not as good and that's not working out, then, well, the only alternative is to take some medications to help you get through that. Me, it's the 3-day mark. Withdrawal symptoms can be serious and they can be uncomfortable. Heck, they can even kill you. But don't worry, because they are only temporary. If you stick with it, if you don't give in, if you don't die, if you don't go back to the drug, you will get better. It's just a matter of time. Yeah. All right, stay tuned for the next part.